So yeah, if you joined later and you don't have this link, I'll share it again. Just open this talk. We have a few good resources on this one, an attendees list so that you can drop your name here. And yeah, let's get started with introducing yourselves. Even if you have been on some other calls, it would be good to introduce yourself on this one as well, because this is especially helpful for newcomers. So starting from Yasha Guruwal.
Hey everyone, I'm Yasha Guruwal. Maybe some of you know me from before. Like I just joined one of the call which happened day before yesterday. So I first of all I'm like in my senior year at IIT BHU. Currently I'm interning at MTX Group as ST intern. So basically when I coming to the point like how I heard about Meshi, like I was thinking of doing some project. Like my intern is going to end in like 1 week, so I was thinking of getting into DevOps and all. So I was thinking of searching for some projects, right? So I was thinking of also contributing to like open source, and I have been thinking of doing the same for a long time. So when I was searching for the projects, I just came across like this mesh in LFX mentorship. So just I just like thought of giving it a shot. So I am here like with you guys. I think that's it. Do we need to add something else as well?
Maybe you can share your hobbies also if you want.
Okay, so basically, like I'm into like trekking a lot. Like I like trekking a lot, but I have been on like 2 or 3 treks till now. But I know that I'd go to a lot more. Like if it was not for COVID, like I would have done 3 or more treks more. So like a lot of plans have cancelled. Other than that, I like listening to music a lot. I like buying musical instruments as well. So like I am not master in one musical instrument, but I like own a lot of them. So yes, that's it.
Nice. That's a lot of stuff that you've been doing. Uh, so did you said you work with Golang?
Basically, what I said is like for now, I have been working with for 1 year. I have been working with JavaScript and Java for a long time. Like Java, I've been working for like last 3 months. So, but I don't have any experience with Go. So, like I am thinking of getting into Go and DevOps side. So I'll learn that.
Nice. So I guess this was shared. Like this has a list of all the projects that we have and all the languages that we use in them, including JavaScript, including Go, some are C++. Do go through this as well. If you
Sure.
don't have access to this talk, I guess you need to fill out the newcomers form. Soham,
I feel that.
do you have? Yeah, even if someone else can't see any of these documents, like Soham, do you have the link? Can you paste it?
Yeah, I'll just find it and paste it. You can continue.
Cool. Thanks. So next up, Priyanshu Gupta. Would you like to?
Yes. Hello everyone, myself Priyanshu, and I have recently joined this community, but I have attended previous newcomers meeting. I have some doubts, so I have to clear it here. I was making machinery in my own environment and getting some troubles, so I have joined this meeting to clear them. And apart from that, I usually work on JavaScript and Flutter, but since I have joined this community, I've been learning Go. Yes, that's it.
Nice. So we'll come to your problems, the one that you're having with running Mesri, and we'll try to troubleshoot them. Nice of you to bring that up.
Thanks.
Next up, Yash Singhal. Would you like to go and introduce yourself? I'm not sure if Yash is not audible.
Hello.
I guess we heard something. I'm not sure. Or was it
Hello.
just me? Yeah, hey Yash.
Uh, wait. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Myself, a single. I done various projects in Python, Django, and JavaScript. I love to implement my skill to solve real world problems, and I am an open source enthusiast. That's it.
Nice. Would you like to share where you're from and any other hobbies maybe?
I love cooking.
Okay, that's
Nice,
great.
nice.
I
That's
have
great,
started
man.
making
I
breakfast.
like cooking too. Yeah, I'm the professional cook in our hostel. I only the one person who makes Maggie. That's me.
So, anyways, hi guys. Sorry I'm late. I was your host today. I am your host today. And I was a bit late. Thanks to Rudraksh and Soham for adding me. And I believe everyone had introduced themselves, right? Or there's someone left?
No, some are left. Aman and Ganesh are still left, I guess. Let's continue with them. I'll stop sharing my screen. You can take it up.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
Hey, Aman, a quick hi would be nice. Like to get to know you a little bit. He's gone, I guess. So I guess that leaves call to Ganesh Kumar. Hi Ganesh, can you hear us?
Hey guys, yeah, I can hear you for sure. Since you know your video, I would like to do the same thing.
Yeah, great. More
So,
webcams.
guys, I'm not. Yeah, yeah. So, guys, I'm not very much young like you. I'm a pretty much experienced guy. Currently working in a VMware, and I'm working on the Istio Tanjuma service mesh, basically close to the project which you guys are doing. And here for basically, I'm kind of new into contributing into the community stuff. I've been doing that into like our own spaces for our own company wide projects. But I think after a year of experience, I think the new era is being open source, right? So this age person is here for doing the same thing which you young guys are doing.
Yeah, that sounds great, man. So like,
Yeah.
how come you came across Layer5? Are you trying to use it as a product, or you just stumbled upon it while?
Yeah, so basically, I began introduced to Layer 5, one of my colleague. She is already part, Neha Loya. She is already part of this community. And she been, I think, contributing this project. And she introduced that this is a like cool place to check out on the Istio and the contribution being made by the people. And as I'm already working on the Istio, so I thought like, why don't I take a chance and sneak in? When I say sneak in, it's not like snipping into the repos and all that. I really want to contribute because I really, from my journey, I have understood that uh, opening up your thought process via the open community, open source is the way to learn new things, right? and and you get more idea when you go into open source community. and also you like get involved with the latest tech rather than being stuck with your own company stuff.
Yeah, sounds like you've all figured out, man. So great. Hope we learn something from you, and you also learn the same from us.
Yeah, man. So and another reason why I have joined this community, I also want to give back to the community. Whatever I have done for last 1 decade, I have 1 decade of experience. So whatever I have in my backpack, I want to share with the community. That also one of the motto for joining this community.
Yeah. Well, if you stick around, you can be a meshmate over here.
No,
Yeah, the
no,
people who
for
help
sure.
around everyone and mentor people come new. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess we have introduced all of them, right? So how many Rudraksh? Or is
Well,
so
I
I'm gonna
joined 7
assume
minutes late, so Rudraksh knows best.
Yep.
if someone is
Even
still left, please don't feel shy to unmute yourself, and if you like, uncamera yourself and introduce yourself. I'm gonna move on with the meeting now. So yeah, the first thing is the questionnaire, which I think you must have already been bombarded with. If you haven't filled this up, please fill this up so we at least know like what things are you like basically your introduction, but it can be seen by the other maintainers also, so we know where to engage you properly and where your skills might be helpful or where you can help us, stuff like that. So that's a questionnaire. It's you all have the link to the doc, right? Which is shared over here. If not, I will just one more time share it in the chat itself. So you can also contribute to the doc. And if you don't have access, please say so. You will get the access to the whole community drive of Layer5 with a lot of things. You don't want to miss out on that. Uh, and okay, so uh, let me just go back. Yeah. So there are some. If you fill up the form, you will know that we take into input few of the common things which people usually ask for, like tutorial on some basic stuff. Like in case of Ganesh, I guess introduction to Istio is one which people usually ask for, or like how to run Meshi or what Meshi does as a thing. So we are trying to put up a list of tutorials which the people who are really proficient with will be recording it and share it with all you guys on other community members in future. So one more reason for you to fill the form and tell us which particular thing you are interested in, so we can give it a more priority than other. And these are the few things which I know a to-do list. And once they are done, they will of course be shared in our Slack drive itself. And yeah, so that's just a brief which I wanted to give you. Other than that, we have a discuss.layer5.com, which is basically a form where you can ask stupid, silly questions or like very conceptual, deep questions and check which and get answers for that particular stuff. So basically, if you have any dumb question, feel free to ask over here, and most probably in a week, someone from the community will help you out, try to figure out why things is as it is and whether we should change it or not and stuff like that. So yeah, this is also a quick note that we have something like this. If you are stuck, you can ask it over here. Of course, you can ask it in Slack, but this is a place where if someone new later along comes to, we can redirect them over here instead of answering the same questions again and again. So like if you feel like this is a very generic question, you will be helping other people by asking it over here. But you are also free to ask in Slack. Like, there's no problem with it. And yeah, so we also have a community handbook. This is basically for the people who don't know anything about what our projects are. This just gives a brief on what all projects do we have, how do you start contributing, what all things we are engaged in. So if you want, I can just give you a brief. I think you should read it by yourself itself, and then if you have any questions, you can answer it here itself. So yeah, that was the common notes. So and okay, we have covered the first two topics itself. And okay, so I talked about someone becoming meshmate just now, but I just realized many of you won't know what meshmate really is. So, for the people who don't know what meshmate really is, it is basically a program in Layer5 where people who are very expertised in a particular domain or particular projects over here, they are given a badge called Meshmate, where they are willing and actively helping newcomers to figure out how they can contribute, where they can contribute, and if they are stuck somewhere with a and they are not able to basically move forward or have any blockers, they will help you to uh, tackle them basically, even the smallest of the smallest stuff. So like if you think like you need a particular guidance from someone, if you're not understanding it by yourself, you can you are feel you feel free to go in Slack and ask for a Neshmid itself, and you can also look over here and see which one you feel is the most appropriate to you. Like if you click on one, you will get to know what they have been involved in, where they have contributed and stuff like that. So that should help you out. And other than that, uh, you can also reach out to the maintainers if you like. They are also willing to help. Everyone's willing to help. Yeah. So, okay. Any doubts till now, or am I just blabbering and you are not understanding anything? Because now I will probably go into explaining the repos itself, like what all projects are there in Meshi. So basically, there are two main projects in Meshri, which are basically under CNCF right now. One is Meshri itself, which helps you manage your mesh. If I give a brief of what Meshri is, it basically helps you manage your mesh itself and see let's say, the Grafana charts which you have, monitor it a bit and stuff like that. And it also acts as a way for you to run performance tests. Now, it is a performance test we maintain as a there are two parts to it. We first of all we maintain a different uh, standard way of, like, we have defined a way to measure how the performance of your apps which are deployed in your mesh itself, how you can check it and what are the parameters to do so. We maintain it differently and we called it as a SMP spec itself. And Meshri as a server helps you to run those tests in your mesh itself, and it helps you to store it and revisit it and compare it with the previous test and stuff like that. So those are the two overview of the projects which we have. And if you are still not understanding anything, please tell me, because this is getting a more one-sided talk, which I don't want it to be. Okay, I'm going to move on since no one's replied. And you can also check the Meshri documentation if you want to get started on like how to use Meshri CTL or what the infrastructure of Meshri looks like if you want to see how it is really working. It is all over here itself. And there are a few guides too which you can check out. So good place to start with Meshri is doc itself. It will guide you through how you can install Meshri using Meshri CTL and stuff like that. So yes, and let's go to Get Nighthawk. So Get Nighthawk is a extension of SMP, if you say so. like a variation where you will basically using Nighthawk to conduct those SMP tests. So this you can think of as a subset of the SMP spec itself, where we are enabling it to use Nighthawk to run those tests for your mesh itself. That's the overview of how Get Nighthawk works. And as I was going through this particular sites, you may have noticed that all of the sites are open source itself. And if you are interested into front-end stuff or site-related stuff, you can contribute it over here. Most of the sites over here, as you see, are built on Jekyll itself. Jekyll is a Ruby framework, and if you are interested in it and want to work on it, then these are the sites which you can contribute to. Like there are a lot of small bugs over here and there which you can contribute to. It's a great place to start. You will also get to know about the project itself if you contribute over here. And if you are into React, then our main site, layer5.io, is built on Gatsby. Gatsby is a framework built on React itself. It is supposed to be faster. And if you are interested in that, then you can also contribute over here itself. So in Layer5, we have a Figma template too, in which we try to first design the things which we want to see in our site in a more, okay, my bad. I want to show my tab over here. Yeah. So we try to design it first in Figma and then we try to code it in Gatsby. So if you are ever so slightly interested, then that's also a good place to start. Okay. So uh, you can hear me, right? I would like to get some response from you guys, or else you might be bored of me just blabbering over.
I guess someone had some trouble running Meshri, so do we cover that here? I'm not sure.
Yeah, sure. Let's cover that, but let me just end through this, and then we can get into. Then we can get a dirty with that. Sounds good. So basically, if you don't, so we have few hands-on tutorials which we have made on Katacoda. Like if you have ever tried any Katacoda courses, you will definitely relate to this. It is basically if you are too lazy to run Meshri inside your PC itself and you want to try it out in a environment which is not yours, you can check it out over here. We have created few of the hands-on tutorials so that you could get a bit brief on what mesh is. You might be able to use it and use it with a specific mesh which you are working with, like in your case Istio specifically, as someone suggested. So you can check that out too. And there are few about performance testing and if I believe SMI testing too, which you can check out. So this will basically be, this is also basically you will be running Meshi Server and trying out to do a performance test on top of app which are deployed. So to give you a brief on how things are, if you don't want to run Meshi locally itself. So that's a neat thing which you might like. And so we also have a repository overview where basically we just give you a brief on, like if you go to github.com/layer5 or github.com/meshi, you would be bombarded with a lot of repos itself. And for a newcomer, it might be very tough to understand what is really going on over there. Like, what is this about? I really don't know. That a a two-liner about that particular repo doesn't really give me context on what that really is. So basically, this is the doc you should come to uh, get specific about what that thing really is and what tech are we using and how do I start contributing to it, whether it is of interest to me or not. So as you can see, I mostly covered all of the sites before, which you can contribute to. The main You can also contribute to the Meshri UI itself, which is part of the github.com/Meshri/Meshri repo itself. You can check that out. This will direct you to the UI folder itself, if I'm not wrong. It is built on, I would just be repeating stuff which is over there, so it might be better if you read it as per here itself. You know the stack. And so yeah, for the front end, I've pretty much covered all the sites except Meshi UI, which I just showed you. And for the backend projects, we have our Meshi server itself, of course. And then for each adapters, we also have a dedicated repos for each of the adapters itself, which connect with our Meshi server so that we can have specific things related to each of the mesh, which you can configure and stuff like that. So you can check them out if you like. And all those adapters use Meshri adapter library for some common functionality, which is shared among themselves itself. And other than that, we also have few different repos, which like Learn Layer5, where basically a few of the hands-on courses which Layer5 had given in past, and just a brief if you want to see those courses itself. You can check it out inside, if I'm not wrong, inside Worklog workshops, where I guess most of them are open for you to see, which we had provided before, and you can check them out by yourself itself. And I believe there were also few Servishmish labs. Yeah, so this were the category courses which I showed you before. You can also check them out if you like. So basically, this in few of this are hands-on workshop where you do things as you go, and Learn Layer5 has a code for all those workshops. And other than that, we have two interesting projects going on right now called Meshi Operator and Meshing. So basically, this is basically a way for Meshri to continuously be active about what resources are there in your cluster itself and change the state of Meshi server depending on that. So if you want to read more about it, I guess you can check them out specifically. I don't want to go into detail right now because I don't think most. If you want to learn more, ask me. I won't go into detail right now because most of you won't be interested in it. And if you are, please ask me. So that was just a brief of all the repos which you can see. And yeah, all our recordings are saved in our YouTube channel itself. So if you feel like you have missed a particular meeting where something important had been told, then you can check it out in our YouTube channel itself. The link is over here. And yeah, and one more thing, yeah, this is, I think, the most important thing is please add all our calls in your calendar. You are free to join any of our calls. Feel free to hop on if you think you might like them. And you can also add them to your Google Calendar, which I think I already have. So you never miss on any of our calls. So that was the brief which I wanted to talk about. And I guess we can go on and make our hands dirty with the setup which someone had problem with, unless someone wants to ask me, since I was blabbering for the whole time and no one was stopping me. Yeah, Priyanshu, you want to say something?
Yeah, so I was having this issue. I've made my environment to work with Meshri, and I'm getting some trouble in pinging the Kubernetes cluster, I think.
So maybe you can share your screen. That might be a better
Yeah,
way to do
yeah,
this.
sure. I need permission.
You need permission to share. Is that so? Um, I don't know how to change that. If someone knows, please. Mm,
Wait. It's working like,
try now.
yeah.
Okay, so can
Yeah.
you go to environment once? So I think the problem is you're not connected to a Kubernetes uh,
Yeah.
cluster itself. So if you don't connect to it, you will not be able to connect to adapter itself.
Yeah. Um, I have done two things. Make run local in Meshi and in Istio make a run. And
Yeah. So here's the thing. The thing is, if you don't have a cluster configured to your mesh, you won't be able to connect to a adapter itself. So that's why you might be getting that particular error.
yeah.
But you
So
can
how to
still.
do that?
So for that, do you have access to a cluster? If you don't, then you can try out something called as Minikube or Kind, which is
Yeah.
basically a way for you to run a Kubernetes cluster in your computer itself in a separate VM.
So I think in Katakoda they have that examples. I have to do the same thing, right?
Yeah, so the thing is in Katakoda, they already provide you with a Kubernetes cluster and your mesh is automatically connected to it. So that's why it works over there. But if you want to work with adapters, you would need to run a Kubernetes cluster locally. So the
Okay.
best, I guess, the most used option if you want to run it in your PC is Minikube, as far as I know. So you can check out the
Okay.
documentation for Minikube, and
Okay.
you can install it. And also in uh, docs.meshi.io, there is a tutorial for uh, how to connect Minikube to your Meshi server itself. So you can follow that too.
Okay.
Let me just find the link that might help you. So if you are still feeling confused, poke me more. I would be happy.
Would the Istio Service Mesh workshop be a good resource to share here?
Yes, I think so.
Cool.
So
I'll just put up the link in chat. So basically, you'll go over all the stuff like installing Meshri. If you go step by step, following from the prerequisites, you'll get a taste of how you'll be able to do all the stuff.
Right. Thanks.
and like you
And
don't necessarily need a Kubernetes cluster to contribute to Layer5. Like if you are contributing to the UI which does not involve the adapter, like say you are contributing to the UI of the performance test itself, then don't necessarily need a Kubernetes cluster. Let's say you are contributing to the Meshi server, which has nothing to do with the adapters itself. Then you don't need a UI, don't need a Kubernetes cluster to do so. So like uh, if you are planning on contributing to the adapters, or then yeah, sure, go ahead and install a mini cluster. But just telling you, it's not a blocker if you want to contribute somewhere else. This will
oh,
be a
okay.
blocker for contributing to mesh adapters and such.
Right. Thanks.
Yeah. So other than that, you were successfully able to deploy Meshi server. Great
Yeah.
job at that. So guys, do you have any more doubts
Yeah,
or any
hello, am I
stupid
audible?
questions? Yeah, you are Kushal.
Yeah, so thank you. Actually, I was a bit late for this call and wanted to just know like I'm not a newcomer right now. I've been in this community for past 2 weeks and I've made a PR pull request for the Meshri.io site as well in the front end. Now I wanted to work towards Meshri and was trying to set up my development. So I would like to know like if the docs, so can you just help me with the docs? Or step where it is actually written step by step and will Meshi work in my local system like I have right now Ubuntu with 8 GB RAM. Is this perfect system requirement for that?
For 8 GB RAM, you will be able to run Meshri, but I think if you also want to run a cluster while running Meshi server, your PC might struggle with it a bit, as I've heard from other people who have 8 GB RAM. But you are good to go if you want to contribute in Meshri UI and only Meshri server itself, and you don't need a Kubernetes cluster. So if you don't need that, then 8 GB RAM should be sufficient in that
Okay,
case.
cool. So like how do I start with like can you just brief me like I read the readme file as well. It was like you need to install Docker first and then go ahead with it.
Okay, so there are. So where do you want to contribute? Like first tell me that, so I might be able to give you a better option on how you should run Meshi.
Yeah, currently I was only looking for like front end issues, like UI related issues. So in Meshri or in the website, Meshri.io repo or Layer5.io repo.
Oh, okay. So in that case, have you seen the Layer5 community handbook and uh, read through the contents itself? So there is a one particular thing called Meshri UI contribution flow. So this basically uh, guide you through what steps you need to follow to contribute to UI itself. Similarly, we have uh, Meshri contribution flow for the server itself, the novel server, and then we go to specifics, which is Meshri UI. So usually when you want to contribute to the UI, you run your Meshri server in the background, and along with that, you also run a UI dev server. So basically, to give you, uh, so let me ask you this: were you able to run your Meshri server like normally in 90814?
No, actually I haven't started it yet because I've currently shifted from Windows to Ubuntu platform. So that's why I was asking.
So, by the way, Ubuntu is a great place. Like Ubuntu and macOS, I guess, are the best place if you want to work on development and stuff like that. At least according to me, I might be biased. So basically, to your answer, Ubuntu will work just fine. No need to worry about that. And for your flow, so for your flow, basically, as I said, you need your normal Meshi server to run, and along with that, you need to run a Meshi UI. Now, to run Meshi server, there are two ways particularly. One way is to use Meshi CTL to run your Meshi server, and other ways is to run Meshi locally yourself. So, what I usually follow, which I can share with you, is uh, if you go to the Meshi, wait one second. So let me just open my VS Code and show you my flow. That might help you. So if I go to Meshi repo, I think this is lagging. Can you guys hear me? I think my PC is stuck with many
Yeah,
windows
we can hear
open.
you.
Okay, let me just close Chrome. Should probably switch to Firefox. uh,
So basically, do I also need to install Kubernetes cluster or Docker platform first?
uh, no, you need to install Golang, with the flow which I'm currently gonna show you. Don't
Okay.
get worried about this. And let me just clear this up.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I get
So
that Golang part, and I was getting a query related with bundles. So bundles were not working in Golang.
bundle. Uh, I need to see the query to answer your question. But let me just go through the flow which I'm talking about, which might help you guys. So basically, in all the layer 5 repos, you will see a make file. And for the people who don't know make file, it's basically, in a layman's term, it's basically a lot of commands wrapped together, which you can run with just one command. So as you can see, let's say for example, the one which I'm gonna do is run local. So it will basically run all this commands one by one for me. So I don't have to run them one by one when I need to contribute to layer 5. So how do you run them? You run them by doing something like make and then the name of the command. So in layer 5 repo, the command run local and run fast are the one which you use if you want to run Meshi server locally, not in a Docker platform, locally in your server using Golang itself. So if I do run fast or run local, any one of those, I usually prefer run fast. Uh, it will uh, just wait 1 sec. It will start my Meshi server over here. Great. So it started Meshi server for me. And if I open up Chrome and go to localhost 9081, you can see the Meshi server is on. And basically, this is the flow which you follow if you want to contribute to the Meshi server, the backend part of it. Just make some uh, changes in the Go file and try to see if it's working or not. And if you want to also contribute to the UI, so you need to keep this running in the background and open up one more tab and do make make run UI dev. So if you want to see specifically what run UI dev does, you can check it out in the make file itself, where it will specify what all we are doing. So basically, we would be going to the UI folder and doing npm run dev basically. So this is what we are doing. And if you do this, it will open up a UI dev server itself in port 3000, if I'm not wrong. And then you can make changes in the UI file itself, and it will be reflected in the 3000 port itself. So like if I go to components and I want to change something over here, it will re-render the whole thing, and you can check those changes in the 3000 port itself. But for that, you need the Meshi server up and running. And yeah, so that's the flow of contributing to the UI. And if you want to, so the thing is, if you want to see those changes in the Meshi server itself, you need to build the UI changes once, and then only it will be reflected in the server. So we also have make command for that, make build UI itself. So once you make those changes, you can run make build UI, and it will just basically build that particular UI, and then the server will use that particular UI. So that's the gist of how you contribute to the UI. It's specifically. Hope that makes sense. Does it make sense?
Yes,
Does
yes.
it make sense, or did I go over your head?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does make sense. Like, can I just share my screen if it's not an issue to just show
Yeah,
you
sure.
what
Go
error I
ahead,
was
man.
getting?
Sure.
So basically, when I was trying to run my site, so I was getting this error. I
Oh,
made
okay.
this command bundle to make site.
You were talking about Meshi.ai. I'm so sad. I'm
Yeah,
so
yeah.
sorry. I talked about Meshi. You should have stopped me, man.
But still,
Anyways,
like, I got an
so
idea.
so the problem is you have a different version of Ruby installed in your case.
Okay.
So if you, there are two things you can do over here. There is something called as Ruby Version Manager (RVM), which you can use to switch between different version of Ruby. But if you want to do a little hack, I will be probably go to Gemfile and change 2.7.1 to 2.7.0 your version, like temporarily to run it on
Local.
your local itself. But like that's a bad habit. You probably shouldn't do that. But I sometimes do that out of convenience. The proper way is to use Ruby version manager. So if you go to Gemfile, as you can see
Like,
in the
yeah, basically, I used this setup environment
okay.
doc. So last command was this, and I was getting the error. So that's what I
Yeah,
was
so the error is because the Ruby version which you have is a bit old and it's not compatible with what we currently have. So either you need to update your Ruby version to 2.7.1, or as a temporary hack, you can go to the file name gem file in the root folder itself and change the Ruby version for from 2.7.1 to 2.7.0.
okay. I got it. So yeah, I just explored this stuff. Then
Yeah, sure. You got what I said, right?
yeah, I got it. So now I'll just look out of the internet like how to change my version in Ruby. Do
Yeah,
you remember
yeah,
any command as such? Right now I'm not aware of that.
sure. And if you still face any problems, you can go to the channel called website, and you can ask anyone. They will be happy to help you,
Yes, sure.
as Chinmay is helping over here.
Yeah, like, is there any ongoing project currently working on UI specifically to UI, or I can like, you can help me in connecting with a particular meshmate who is working in UI project where I can work with him as a collaborator or anything like
So I would ask you to approach them by yourself itself, or if you aren't able to, you can ask for meshmate to be assigned to you in the Slack channel itself, like in a public channel. You can just type in that I am interested in UI and I want a meshmate, and they are probably active in the Slack chat itself, so they will read your message and assign themselves to you. But if you like, you can uh, also contact them by yourself itself.
that. Yeah, sure. Stop.
Yeah, so any more questions, any more doubts, or any more blockers, feel free to ask anything. Don't be shy. We also had stupid questions when we came. What's my favorite food? uh, 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 would you guys judge me if I say I'm a Gujarati? What's my favorite food?
No,
Let's see.
even I'm a Gujarati.
Okay, but I would go with uh, let's say
Dhruv, can you hear me?
Save Sir, I guess. If any of you know about it.
Dhruv, yes, could you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Afzal, right? Am I
Yes, yes,
pronouncing it correctly? Yeah.
yes, it's fine. Seriously, as I am also like new here, and yes, I'm exploring these all projects. So yeah, I'm on the actually, I can say I'm on the exploration phase now. So yeah,
I
this
couldn't
is.
hear the last part, so like if you could say it
Oh,
once
sorry,
more.
sorry. Then I'm on the exploration phase right now.
Uh, Still didn't
I
get
mean,
that.
I'm exploring, uh,
Oh, okay.
sort of projects under the umbrella of, Mastery and Layer 5.
Oh, that's great, man. So, what are you interested in? Like, what stack do you like?
Oh yes, I am basically same. I'm interested in UI part, and I'm also trying to explore other parts also. Basically, Kubernetes.
Oh,
So like
okay.
how should I approach? Yeah.
So, how should you approach? If you want to learn more about Kubernetes, I think the best way to approach is to uh, go through the
We start.
workshops which I just showed you. Like Layer5 has done a lot of workshops on Kubernetes and stuff like that, which are present in our site itself. And I think most of them are open for you to see and look into and follow those workshops once again. So that might be a good place if you are trying to explore in Kubernetes. And if you want to start contributing in UI, I would say look for issues in all of our repos and see which one do you like and the one is assigned to. And B, if you can't find anything which you like, you can always go on in our Slack. And specifically for UI, you can go to the website Slack and a Slack channel called Meshi UI, and you can just post over there that hey, hi, I know this kind of stuff. I'm interested in contributing to UI. I couldn't found any good issues, so like maybe can some of you point me out to a good issue which I can tackle, and most probably someone will reply. Definitely, someone will reply, and that will get you started. So that's the contributing part. Make sense?
Really, uh, it sounds good. No, good to me now. And I'm sorry again because I actually a bit late to join this meeting. So, so yeah, can you like introduce yourself? Like, I know you may be a committee member and on this project. So, what else do you
Yeah,
do?
sure. So I currently am a intern over here at Layer5 under CNCF under GSOC, and
Oh yes,
I'm also a maintainer of Meshi UI itself. And yeah, I guess I'm also in my final year of my BTech college, and I guess that's
yes,
probably
yes.
good enough.
Hmm.
And there
Yeah,
are also a
fantastic.
lot of people over here which you can contact. Like Chinmay is also very active. Soham is also very active in the community. I think they should also introduce themselves. And
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Really.
Rudraksh too, I
So you are
guess.
the
Yeah.
you guys are the right persons. I mean to say, I can connect with you all, and definitely I will like if I face
Yeah,
something or
sure.
stuck somewhere.
I would say connect in the public channel itself. So if someone else has
Hmm.
the same doubts which you have, then it might be helpful for them too. But yeah, our channel, like you can talk with us too. Like no problem with that.
Thanks, thanks, thanks a lot.
So, any more questions or shall we wrap it up? With no responses, I'm going to assume we are going to wrap it up. And if someone else wants to share which food they like, feel free to. End on that particular note.
Yeah, so one question I have, Dhruv, for you, how you guys are maintaining infrastructure for all these projects? Are you putting all your open source over AWS, or which kind of infrastructure you're today on?
So, if I remember correctly, the Meshi as such does not need an infrastructure because it's a tool which people use. But the way we store all the data of the test which people use or the user specific preferences, I think we use uh, a Amazon EC2 instance, if I'm not wrong.
Okay,
Not
okay.
necessarily a
Basically, your
full.
infrastructure is on AWS.
Yeah, our infrastructure is in AWS.
Okay, okay. That
I,
just I want to know, because it's a huge cost, right? Running open source community and managing this is a headache. Yeah.
yeah, I think there are a few benefits, like they give you a few of the credits if you are an open source community. I don't necessarily know. Don't take my word for it.
Okay, cool. And you guys are developing adapter. I seen that one of the adapter is for Tanju service mesh. So how I can get the contact who is developing that adapter?
So you can check out the maintainers of the adapters itself. So there are a lot of maintainers from different community itself. I don't particularly know who is currently maintaining that particular adapter. Maybe a good way would be to see the commit history or the maintainers which are assigned. I don't
Okay.
think we have specific maintainers for each of the adapters. We have collective of maintainers which maintain all of the adapters because they are similar in a lot of ways and like differentiate in only a few areas. So like they generally tend to have a common structure or flow. That's why we have common maintainers. You can. I don't particularly have an answer for that. Hopefully, what I just said might get you through it.
No, it makes sense. It makes
I
sense.
I
I can
guess I can answer a bit of that. We are planning to, like, the service mesh adapter for Tanzu is not so much developed yet, and we would love to receive help from that. And since you are from VMware, please go in the Mystery Adapters channel and show your interest. Like, we'd really love to receive help on that, and if you can, we'd love
mesh
you.
adapter. Yeah, yeah, Rudraksh, definitely I'll do that because as I mentioned, I'm not only here to learn. I'm also want to contribute, and also in the nearby future, I would like to guide the people. So yeah, I would definitely do that, Rudraksh.
Great.
Looking forward to that.
Yep. Okay, okay.
Okay, so anything else? We are 7 minutes over, and if someone wants to ask, I'm still over here, and you are feel free to go from this call. And yeah, I guess we are done. If no one else is going to ask me something in 1 minute, then I'm probably going to leave. The call is going to end.
Yeah. For my side, thanks a lot for this session.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, bye guys. Nice to meet you all. Feel free to hop on to tomorrow's meeting itself. We have a community call every Friday. It's a great place for you to be, and don't miss it. Bye. And as
Bye.
Chinmay said, happy contributing.
Bye bye. Bye guys.
Bye.
Mhm. Mhm.